How are ya? Social distancing, of course. What's
Good.
going on?
Yeah, all that.
We're determined to persevere, just like everybody else in the culinary community right now. Let's go ahead and start with this podcast. Sharp quote, Lou.
If you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. That's Mother Teresa for you.
All right. So, on to the positive news right now. So many people, Louie, have stepped up big time during this time of need. And one of them is our chef buddy, Marc Marrone from Graffiti Bao. What's up, Marc?
What's going on? How are we doing?
Yeah.
Busy day for you, huh?
Well, it's been fortunately busy. I'm not complaining at all, but yeah, it's been a little hectic. It's a different kind of busy. So
Right.
So we know that you're helping with Delivering with Dignity, which is a nonprofit that they started here very recently during this pandemic. Tell us a little bit about it and how you got involved.
So really the whole focus is, in this transition of going into quarantine and having people, the right decision was made to everyone stop what they're doing in quarantine. Unfortunately, some of the blowback or some of the issues that kind of popped up with that was there's people that are at risk, especially in our community in Vegas specifically, that are either at risk of being someone that's our age that has, respiratory issue or illness. You're considered at risk and shouldn't go anywhere. But our community specifically has got a high percentage of elderly, like grandparents that are guardians of their grandkids. And, the kids still have to eat, but they're at risk, and therefore the kids can't go anywhere, and they should be going anywhere, so they're at home. And coupled with the fact that a lot of them are in either senior homes or on assisted living or on some form of a program where, they need assistance monetarily. All those things combined create a pretty big community of people that don't have access to food and aren't safe to go out even to the grocery store. So what we kind of worked with was fortunate enough with Elizabeth Blau, who's been a friend of mine for a long time and super active in the community, stepped up and started pushing this program out of Honey Salt. And I reached out and I said, it's great. I love what you're doing. We're open still, and we're still doing curbside and takeout. Long story short, and reached out and said, all right, would you like to help out? And now we have kind of a split duty of the four main kind of areas that need assistance, and we alternate daily on providing those meals. And then the Moonridge group, the Moonridge Foundation is the one that's kind of orchestrating and funding it, along with the Elaine Wynn Family Foundation. And United Way specifically is coordinating the delivery drivers and volunteers. So what happens is in the morning, I get my order the night before, and we actually cook everything down. We chill it down. We actually package like 3 meals worth of food per person cold. And then United Way shows up 12:30, and they all have an assignment list, and they distribute it out amongst the city and bring it to those people that are at risk. And, our guys, take a lot of pride in, all the safety, sanitation stuff, and ensure that we're providing like safe, healthy, and good food for people that are stuck at home, because, we all love food. Everyone that's listening to this and us hanging out here, that's where our whole life is geared around. That's kind of what's also, keeping our team going here. Like, it's a lot of negativity going on everywhere you look, and it's out of everybody's control of what's happening. But, an opportunity to focus on something a little positive and feel like we're taking care of a community that when we opened was amazing, the support we've gotten from everybody. So the least we can do is kind of get back and help them.
Super impressive. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to do. I'm not, I think part of being, the chef nature in general is, I'm kind of a control freak, and anyone that's listening and knows me would be surprised to hear saying it. And like, I'm not a doctor, and I'm definitely not a chemist or a biologist or anything like that. I can't make medicine, do that, but I can cook. And, as long as I'm allowed to operate and produce food and do what I love to do, we're going to be here to help people. And I think that, I don't know the other way to go about it.
Right.
So, Chef, how are you doing?
Good. I'm a little, I think it's good. I'm a little tired, but, plugging along. It's been it's been great. But also at the same time, like you got to have this business survive. So when this is all over, our team's got a business to come back to. So we're, running with our main cooks, a pretty light crew. Everyone has kind of got 10 different hats on, whether it's cashiering, answering the phones, accepting orders, cooking. But you know what? Like I said, it's every one of us. And, I'll be candid, like from a business perspective, a lot of people that are listening probably have restaurants or work for ones that have shut down. And, it's such a bigger picture when it comes to the cost associated with running a business that, it's not just about being able to pay for the food, having the revenue come in the door, but paying for the team, paying for the space, and I think what we do every night, I'll be candid, is, I'm super transparent with my team, and we make it through a day, and I sit down and I say, here was our labor costs for today, here's what our sales were, and, we survive another day. And I think that being that transparent with the team was the only way I knew about how to go about doing this, when I'll be honest with you, like the initial gut reaction and I guess first simplest way to go would have been to close. But, I got 5 of my guys here that their whole life depends on this job, whether they have kids or their house, or they take care of their parents. And, I figured at least if anything, like, look them in the eye and say, we're going to give it a shot. And, we've been fortunate to get a lot of support from the community on the delivery and takeout. And then, being able to fold in some of this charity work kind of gives it a little bit more purpose now, and gives a little more motivation to get through the day to ensure that we do survive. And because now there's other people relying on us, right? It's not just the guys that work here, but more importantly, now everyone in the restaurant, not that they don't, but let's be honest, all of us, they're getting to the point where one plate doesn't get wasted, a napkin doesn't get wasted, to try to make this business as efficient as possible to survive, so we can now feed the community and take care of our team. So it's kind of it's definitely given a new appreciation for the business, I think, for everybody. And I think everyone's getting a crash course in how to run a business and what it takes to do it, because it's really a team effort every day. And I think listen, no one has a playbook for this. And I think that I'm doing the best I can to lead our guys through it. And I think the team is doing an amazing job supporting it and being a part of it. So.
Yeah. And Marc, we know that you're also offering a 30% industry discount right now, which is a big deal. I mean, we used to come visit you, a bunch of chefs, late night. And what does it mean to you to do something like that, and to be able to do something like that? And even though we know that you're just barely getting by. Yeah,
it was one of those things where, I worked, people don't know, I worked on the Strip I came here for work for my job, right? I came here with Tower Group. I opened 3 really big restaurants on the Strip that, that was my whole life was based around that. And I worked in New York City before that, but came out here and I spent 10 years working on the Strip and working with a lot of these people that in one form or another, either we worked together, they worked for me, I worked with them, or a restaurant next door. And, being removed from the Strip, and then seeing what was going on, and then seeing that it really started, what everyone forgets too is that, outside looking in, they're like, oh, we're 2 weeks into shutdown, we'll survive. It's like, but Vegas, servers, restaurant staff, we started canceling conventions the end of January. The first set of big conventions were a bust because people were afraid to travel. Then they started canceling them. So servers and staff were not making even mediocre money. They're making no money before the shutdown. So going into, once they decided to close everything, they were on week 4 or 5 of barely getting by with minimal income, and now you just took it away. And it hurt. Like, I got really upset. And again, nothing I can do physically about it, but I figured, I was like, listen, we're still functioning, able to get open. And at 30%, it did the math, and I'll be transparent with everybody. Like, damn, 30% does the math to cover the food costs, cover the labor costs, to keep the lights on. And as long as my team can survive, the business stays basically even, and people get to come eat, because we're at we're fortunate. We're at a fairly low price point. So 30% off puts it at a pretty affordable meal for something that's, made from quality, chef driven, and it's got the right approach to it. I figured that was the least I could do. And it started with the industry, because the first thing that was hit was the casinos, and everyone losing their job or getting, I even started doing it before they did the shutdown, when people started getting shifts cut. And now I'll be candid with you. Anybody that comes in, because people call up like, well, what industry is it? I said, the fact you're asking, no questions. I put it on the tab. Here, I give them the discount, because, listen, there's people that turn it down, that I know they're in the industry, and I try to give it to them, that, they have other sources of income and they're okay. And they say, no, save for somebody else. And that's great. Yeah. But then when people ask, I don't care if you were, at this point now with the shutdown, you could have been any industry and not have a job. So if you're out of work and you need something to eat, come in here, we'll give you 30% off. And then also, when the schools closed, I grew up as a kid in New York, and, it was common, hey, everybody at school at some form or another got either a discounted meal from the state or the school, or it was free, or you brought like 75 cents to school and you got lunch. I know it's much different now, but it's the same concept. And then, they closed the schools down, and there was no immediate plan for them to all get fed. Initially, that was public for people to know, and people started, I know people that were like, oh my God. And forget about the school paying for it. Now parents are at home, or a parent has to stay home with their kid. That's a whole other meal to cook. Even if you paid for the kid to eat at school for $5, now you got to make food at home. It's another burden on you. It takes away from your job. So I basically rounded up. I was like, listen, I started to do these kids bowls for like $4.88. Orange chicken, tofu, whatever they want. And then, we're fortunate to get, my cousin has a barbecue restaurant in Connecticut called Hoodoo Brown. And he basically called me up and he was like, I'm going to give you like $500, man. They pay for however many meals that'll cover. And it did. And you know what? We went through and we plowed through that $500 for the kids' meals. I got to say, probably the first 4 days, which was a great feeling. And we just carried it on. Like we still aren't charging. And that's, as long as I've made a commitment to everybody, as long as we're open and I'm able to serve food, kids without fail are going to eat here and they're going to eat for free as long as they need to get through this. And, parents come through, you get your 30% off, but as long as we're able to function, we're going to make sure that the community's fed and taken care of. And I mean that, like, that's all we really know how to do.
So, we saw this amazing video of you and your son making banana bread a couple days ago.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm guessing you have like probably maybe 1 day off-ish right now.
So, yeah, what we decided to do is actually just close all together on Sunday.
Okay.
Because we're running such a bare minimum crew that the model at the moment doesn't really work without the 5 of us in one form or another. And,
right.
We went first, I'd say 16 days straight of doing all this. And I don't mind, but I was, we needed a minute to catch up. And I was like, let's shut down on Sunday. And it worked out well for everybody. Everyone got a full day off, spent with their family, because you know what? At the same time that, the negative of this is everyone's out of work, but the positive, people get to spend a lot of time with their families. And, my team doesn't. And they're not complaining. I'm not either. I'm blessed to have a job and be able to work and produce, but we want to make sure that we still have a day that families that are home need help and need us and need things. So for me, it was, my 1 day off, and I've been cooking for everybody else for the past 2 weeks. Yeah. I was like, time to cook for the family. And, it's funny. Ace is, he's so cute. My son, he's 3.5 now. And the minute if I go to do anything, I want to help. And he'll like push his little stool over the stove, like across the kitchen. And I'm like, all right, fine. It could be anything. It could be like, I just turn it on. And he goes, are you cooking, Dad? I'm like, all right. So I was like, what do you want to make, buddy? And I had a bunch of bananas, and I was like, want to make banana bread? And he's like, yeah. He was going to take it. He took a nap, and I was like, you get up for your nap? We'll make banana bread. He's like, okay. Took his nap. I passed out on the couch. He wakes up, and he comes up to me and goes, Dad, we have things to do. And I was like,
oh, man.
I looked at him. I was like, all right, what do we got to do, buddy? He goes, well, we have to make banana bread, but you still have to get eggs. And I was like, well, what did you turn into like a 35-year-old? I was like, what? And I was like, so he was all, I was like, all right, bud. So I got up, we went out, we got our eggs, did our thing. And, and he gets really excited about it. I think, cause he thinks, I think he sees me cooking all the time. And the best part about opening the restaurant too is, we get to spend some time with him, and, he sits on the counter and he'll hang out, watch me cook, expedite, whatever, while we're in service. And he really likes it. So I think, it was a fun opportunity for him to be able to cook and hang out. And I think, I think that's something that really blessed that I get to do that with him. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, came out good too.
Keep posting the videos, because all positivity and happiness is a good thing.
Yeah, so that's what I figured. I was going to come up with a couple other things that he likes to eat, and I think we're going to make a little little series of like Ace's recipes or Ace's cookbook or something.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Because I figure there's so many other families at home that with kids, and there's a lot of safe, simple way, like banana bread. There's no cooking until it goes in the oven, right? And there's nothing you have to cut. So it's like really simple in regards to all dry ingredients, the wet ingredients. There's no cutting and mincing and chopping. It's all simple. Like scale it all out, let the kid throw it in the bowl, mix it up, have fun with it. It's a pretty, low effort and low risk recipe. So I want to come up with some of those for some more people, and I'll start putting them on our Instagram and load them up for people to be able to have access to them. And they want to have fun with their kids, they can,
That's awesome. How are you keeping up morale in the restaurant?
Feeling positive. It's,
you're pasting a smile on.
Yeah, you know what though? I don't even have to. Honestly, our team is really, it's every day that I think a positive thing is that our little like post-service recap of how we did for the day, and knowing that, we're contributing, and on top of that, we start our day off. These meals get picked up by 12. So by noon, we've already fed people that need it, and it's a positive thing. We get excited. And honestly, the fact that the city's in such a dire situation and restaurants left and right are closing, that the minute tickets start coming in, like that in itself is inspiring. We're like, oh, thank God,
It's a blessing.
people
Yeah,
care,
totally.
they order. Like, and I don't care if it's $2 or if it's $100. It's like awesome. We get to do something and contribute. And I think, I'm really, really fortunate. We've got a really loyal team of people that want to be here. That even when I opened, like they left jobs that they had that were anything from chef level jobs, whatever, to be a part of the team and part of the growth. And the fact that we're still here and pushing along means a lot to them. And I just try to stay positive and keep giving them things to do and things to get excited about and look forward to. And that's the more things I can plan and schedule. I'll be honest, it's on the phone all day long trying to say, what can we do with this? Who needs help with that? To try to just keep things moving forward and keep people pushing and producing. But yeah, it's weird because every morning we both all show up to work and it's like, you're extra happy to be showing up to work, and I don't think it'll get lost on people for a long time in general, right? Like, I don't think anyone's been so excited to try to go back to work, and it's the faster we can get that happening for people, the better.
Yeah, I bet it's not lost on your team, chef, because I mean, you can talk to Louie about it. Louie's out of work right now, and I mean, she wants to. We're kitchen rats. We want to be in the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the rest of my team for a while now, and being forced to look at dead and dying restaurants and take pictures of them. It's kind of depressing. I saw you a couple of weeks ago, and it was really pretty grim that day. And
that was a tough day. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was there were some of those days that I was you're doing them like every day. Even now, it's like you're doing math in your head all day long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. So we have oh boy, and then a few tickets come in. You're like, oh, that's all I needed. Thank you. Like that's all. Like you're really just not talking about a lot of revenue here to be able to survive, but adapting the business is really, fortunately this concept in general was kind of a beta test into other restaurants that I have that are coming that are more sit down or whatever. But I think this one was a unique opportunity to kind of work on a fast casual chef driven concept that it got inspired when I was working. I opened and ran all the restaurants for Tower Group in LA. And LA is one of the first cities that really took that big minimum wage increase. And, it was across the board. So it was servers, it was dishwashers, it didn't matter. The minimum wage for anybody was higher than, most of the rock star cooks get paid in other cities. It was a big hit. And it was no matter what you did. And our restaurants were so big, right? Tao, I mean, even Tao LA is a small restaurant. It was still 300 seats, right? For Tao Group, it was one of our smaller ones. And, those kitchens are designed to have specifically the square footage. You need 6 cooks minimum. And that's like tight, right? Usually on a decent service, you have 8 guys working the line. And, sales, the minimum threshold that needed to get, minimum food sales or sales to hit your numbers was getting higher and higher based on payroll and then, efficiency and things like that. So what we did was this kind of funky hybrid fast casual where you go up and order at the counter and everyone from a cook to the chef to the dishwasher, someone's bringing your food out, right? Like it's coming to you, sit down. So it's like hospitality driven fast casual. But again, people wear multiple hats and kind of try to reconfigure it that way. Little did I know we're going to steamroll into a situation like this where, thankfully, the natural baseline operating cost is much lower than it would be if it was designed differently. And it seems to be working out. And also it's forcibly fine tuning the concept a little bit and make it a little more streamlined. And on top of that, let's be honest, like I don't want to scare anybody, but we're going to come out of this in much more of a recession market, right? Because people haven't been working. Mm-hmm. And to people for build that expendable income back up is going to be a bit of a challenge. And I think that's why we're going to be super price sensitive for a long time, like we usually are. And I think that, hopefully this can provide, we have 2 more of these were in the works when this hit the fan. They're not canceled. They're just on pause. Fortunately, I think that I'm hoping that this concept can grow when this is all over and provide some more jobs for people in a market that we've done the nitty gritty work of kind of fine tuning the price point to be efficient and make money for the business to survive and be able to provide jobs. I'm hoping that this concept can carry us a little bit of momentum and keep going to be able to probably do some work. And also, more importantly, for everyone that's listening that is worried when this is over, or even now, about money and what they're going to do, like, you'll be able to eat here for, as minimal as we can make it, but at least you're getting something that's thought out, purchased correctly, and is the right quality is really what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah, you're playing it down, chef, because honestly, I mean, that food is fucking badass. And one of the things that like I've learned in this troubled time period, and I'm going to learn and hopefully remember, is that, I can drive 30 minutes. There's something about Las Vegas people and Henderson people. We just think like, oh my God, I can't go down to Graffiti Bao because it's 25 minutes away. And that was like the excuse here because I always wanted to go.
Yeah,
but it's like, but fuck that, dude. I'd do anything to like be in a restaurant right now 25 minutes away. So one of the things that I've learned is, I'm going to go to Summerlin. I'm going to fucking, drive over to Esther's downtown. I'm going to go to all these places that are far from my house because fuck it, I can do it. Like, I have the freedom to do it. And, like, we really hope that for you. And we really believe that that's going to happen because holy crap, like one of my favorite things that I put on my mouth last year was, and that sounds so dirty, was the fucking Royale with cheese bao.
Oh,
that like is, if you haven't had it, people out there, holy crap, you need to have it. It's basically like a bao and like a really delicious burger, like making love in your mouth. So
that's the word.
Awesome.
It's so fucking good.
He wasn't kidding when he was like talking about hybrids.
Yeah, exactly, right.
So
it was one of those things where that came out of being at T-Mobile Arena, because we're also in there. The concept was developed for that originally. And I was like, what, I love going to games and was going to games before we opened in there. And, I love burgers. I like eating at games, but, you're sitting down, it's clunky, weird. And I was like, shove the cheeseburger in a bao bun. I was like, so that kind of evolved into that. And here we are.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we're going to be there, dude. We're going to be there.
Appreciate it.
We're going to switch gears to On the Fly with Chef Marc Marrone.
This
and Louie, you got a timer ready?
Yeah, wait.
We're going to do...
I prematurely started it. Oh, here we go.
Okay, 60 seconds, rapid fire questions with Chef Marc starting
now.
Now, what food is most comforting to you?
Pizza.
Best tool for your job?
Best tool for my job? Spoon.
Cat or dog person?
Dog.
Best binge-worthy show?
Right now, it's Tiger King. Gotta love
God.
Oh man, that's number one on everybody's list.
Ozark. Dream place to travel and eat.
Oof. I crossed it off the list by going to Vietnam last year, and I think next is going to be Thailand, of all places I have not been.
Let's all go.
I'm in.
Guilty pleasure.
Whew. That's a tough one. I think. Guilty pleasure, I'm a sweets person, like a sweets addict. Like, I'll eat ice cream like it's nobody's business.
Oh, dang. Have you tried Paradise City Creamery? You got to do that. Holy crap. First thing you're going to do when this pandemic is over?
Take a shot of Jameson and drink a beer at a bar with a bunch of people.
Oh, the time is going off, but we're still going to finish these questions because I need to know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, go ahead. Childhood food craving.
Childhood food craving was chicken tenders. Still an adult craving of mine.
That's awesome. Okay. Favorite Corona Apocalypse beverage?
Corona was Jameson.
Of course. How do you relax, or is that even a word you know right now?
Relax? It doesn't go well, but I usually, hang out and smoke and relax. That's about it. It's the only way to put it off.
You don't like bubble baths?
Bubble baths and candles is not my thing. And me posting my legs in a bubble bath is definitely not something anyone wants to see. So.
Some Pico.
Right?
Strawberries.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
This is a very important question. Go ahead, Louie.
Your go-to kitchen jam.
Go-to kitchen jam. That's a good one. We blast a lot of Luke Combs and in general in our kitchen here when we're hanging out and cleaning up. So probably any Luke Combs song is definitely always a rock and roll jammer here, and any 80s tune is definitely where we rock. We rock also.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, Chef, we're going to give you one last chance to sell it for Graffiti Bao. Tell us what's going on, the deets, what's going on, what's up.
Well, right now we're Graffiti Bao. We're in the Southwest on Buffalo and Warm Springs, and we're still open for curbside and delivery pickup. And we're doing 30% off anybody that's in need of a little hand and a little bit of help. And we're also doing some kids, feeding kids as long as we're open, and doing our best to do some kick-ass Southeast Asian inspired food with bao buns, and that's about it. So come on in.
Yeah.
Chef Marc Marrone, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Grab yourselves a freaking Royale with cheese. You will not be disappointed.
All right.
Thanks, Mark. Get back to work.
Thank you.
86.
Bye.
Bye.